6.
And new at 6, a federal judge and a high-ranking Atlanta police official are at the center of explosive allegations.
It involves sexual encounters inside the judge's chambers during work hours. Tonight, Channel 2 investigative reporter Ashley Lincoln breaks down the judicial order. And Ashley, federal judges discovered this activity went on for years.
Yeah, according to this 20-page order from the chief judge over the 11th district. Now, the report does not name the judge, but for the last 2 days, I've been speaking with sources and going through public records to identify the accused after federal employees complained about hearing intimate noises through the walls.
These are serious allegations.
They're allegations of sexual encounters during work hours that a federal judge admitted to, according to this newly released judicial order. The report details an investigation launched after a complaint was filed against a federal judge last September.
I don't think judges are perfect. They're human beings too.
Former federal prosecutor Doug Gilfillan says federal laws allow judges' identities to remain undisclosed in reports like these to protect the integrity of investigations.
However, the law requires an order like this one to be made public if there's an imposition of discipline.
The report claims the judge had sex on at least 5 occasions over a 2-year period inside her chambers with a high-ranking police officer. Employees interviewed during the investigation described multiple incidents where they allegedly heard people having sex through the walls. One court clerk testified to hearing what was described as unsettling noises, kissing, and music coming from the judge's chambers.
Why should the everyday person care about these allegations?
The American legal system depends on honesty and truthfulness.
This investigative report did not identify the judge or the officer, but multiple sources confirmed to Channel 2 that federal judge Eleanor Ross and Atlanta Police Deputy Chief Kelly Collier were the 2 accused. In the complaint, the judge's employees said she attended a primary election victory party for a district attorney on May 21st, 2024. A source provided Channel 2 this photo showing Ross at that party. The order also says the judge presided over a hearing the following day. Channel 2 obtained federal court records showing Ross presided over a supervised release hearing on May 22nd, 2024. And regarding the officer, the chief judge wrote the officer has worked for the PD since 1998, later adding that the officer has held this role since 2025. Atlanta police records show Collier joined the department in 1998, and his LinkedIn profile reflected a promotion in 2025. That LinkedIn page has since been taken down. I reached out to Ross, but a representative responded with no comment. The chief judge has already issued Ross a private reprimand, and she agreed to write apology letters to her employees. She was also reprimanded for attending a political event, as federal judges are prohibited from participating in political activities. The chief judge said harsher discipline was not imposed because of the judge's exemplary service to the court, along with the fact the judge ended the relationship and accepted responsibility.
In some ways, this is a self-inflicted wound, and it just shows further distrust in the system by the public, and that's just not something that we need right now.
And Atlanta police provided a statement this afternoon saying it launched an investigation to determine if the person mentioned in the federal report is an Atlanta police officer. Now, we've attempted to reach out to Collier and have not heard back. Reporting live in the newsroom, Ashley Lincoln, Channel 2 Action News.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 21. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine, holy, a right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? Shalom. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Raha-Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, teaching this gospel of truth to the elect of the nation of Israel who were scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth pursuant to the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. All right, I wanted to do a quick response to this despicable, reprehensible behavior by this Israelite woman. She looks like an Israelite woman. And this is just another example as to why America, Babylon the Great, needs to be destroyed with fire and all of its inhabitants. Okay? Because these people are vile, they're wicked, they're despicable, they're disgusting. They have no shame whatsoever. All right, here it is. This woman I saw another video a couple days ago that said she's actually married. Okay, so not only is she having sex on the job, but she's married. She's committing adultery, which is punishable by death, okay, according to the law. All right? See, and this is why the Lord has these laws in place, because these laws, they're perfect, like the scriptures say. All right? And they're designed to govern and guide our behavior. Okay? And this is what separates us from the heathen, or it's supposed to. Okay? But now, the deeds of these Israelites these days surpass the deeds of the wicked, like the scripture says in the book of Jeremiah. All right? It's just, it's despicable. It's disgusting. And to find out that this demon, all right, this judge is getting a slap on the wrist based on her quote unquote exemplary service to the court is disgusting. You know, and it's just another example of how women in American society are never truly held accountable for their despicable behavior. Because if this were a male judge, he probably would have done some jail time, where his career would have been ruined, would have been destroyed. Now here it is, this broad is on the job being a whore, all right, got music playing, and it happened, what, he said 5 times over a 2-year period. I mean, I'm just surprised that this wasn't brought to the attention of her superiors when it first happened. All right, now who other than a woman could get away with such egregious behavior on the job? All right, now I like getting down as much as the next man, but ain't no way in the world I would ever consider jeopardizing my career, all right, by getting a quickie in on the clock when I'm getting paid to do a job. I mean, it just shows just a lack of decorum, a lack of integrity, and not to mention that it is against the law. It's a violation, and it's punishable by death. All right? Let's go to the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 10. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. Okay, so this is the punishment that should have been levied on this demon, this adulteress, and her lover. Okay, and just think about the shame and humiliation this brings to her husband. You know, and you got the women of the sisterhood that are quick to defend this egregious behavior, right? Instead of calling a spade and saying, yeah, this was wrong. This is despicable. They look at this as some type of victory. They always do. I mean, I seldom hear women denouncing this behavior, whether it's a female or Israelite, Edomite. All right, they lack any type of common decency and morals. It's just disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting to see this type of shit going on, you know, on every level of society. But you certainly wouldn't expect this shit to be going on in a courtroom. All right. This is just, it's beyond vexing. It's beyond frustrating. All right. Because you see the evilness and the wickedness, all right, that is promoted amongst everybody here in Babylon the Great. But when you see it amongst our people, it hits you different. Okay, at least it does with me and those of us of the hopeful elect, because we're supposed to be, the example. Okay, now I'm not saying we're supposed to be a light to the heathens, because we're not. Okay, but we should be showing through our actions and our deeds that we are the people of the Lord. All right. No one's perfect. Okay. We're all subject to this flesh. But I mean, this is a whole new level of wickedness. All right. That obviously isn't too much of a problem because she got a slap on the wrist. She gets to keep her job because of her exemplary service. I mean, man, it's laughable at this point. It's really not. But anyway, let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 30. All right, and again, this is because Babylon the Great is a lawless society. All right, they despise the laws of the Lord. All right, and it's ironic because they call this place a Christian nation, but yet they don't uphold any of the laws, statutes, or commandments that the Heavenly Father has established in order to guide human behavior, guide the behavior of the Israelites. Okay, because the laws, statutes, and commandments were given to the Israelites only. Now, when the kingdom of heaven is established on this earth, you heathens will follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay? And if you don't, you're going to be taken out. It's as simple as that. All right? And I would do it with a smile because I'm sick and tired of the wickedness, the filth, the degeneracy that you see in every aspect of society here. The cartoons got alphabet shit. The other day, I had to tell my kids to turn off a cartoon that had two rainbow men doing their thing. I mean, it's permeated every level of society, and it's vexing. It's vexing because we know it's wicked. All right, and this is just a way of indoctrinating, children and everybody. All right, to promote wickedness and put in their minds that they should be given liberty to do whatever the hell they want and not follow any moral code, okay, or moral laws, right? Now, see, this woman, this kingdom is so damn wicked that this judge, if she decided today that she was going to divorce her husband, she would be awarded alimony. She would be awarded, if they got a kid or children, she'd be awarded child support, right? And that would devastate her husband. That would destroy his life because that is really hard to recover from. I know, I'm speaking from personal experience. I'm dealing with it right now as we speak. All right, and it is so damn destructive to a man's life to have to deal with something like this and then rebuild. All right, you got to put the pieces of your life back together after something like this. Okay, and if you got small children, you pretty much fucked. All right, excuse my French, but it is what it is. All right, because you got child support. You got alimony, and that depends on how long you're married. Okay, if you're married 10 years, well, you can best believe that you're going to be paying alimony, for probably a decade or even longer. Okay, and it just goes to show you just how wicked and evil this beast system is. All right, and this is why I don't understand why we have so many people who look at this system as it is and see righteousness in it. It is inherently wicked and evil, all right, especially for the Israelite man. Okay? Proverbs chapter 30, verse 20. Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth and saith, I have done no wickedness. I mean, this is spot on because this is the mindset of the American woman. Okay? This sums it up perfectly. The mindset, the mentality of the American woman. They'll commit adultery, right, get caught in the act of eating a penis, right? And excuse me for my vulgarity, but I'm trying to make a point. All right, wipeth her mouth right after giving someone a blowjob. All right, the evidence is on her face. Right, a husband can walk in a room and see the fluid on her face, and she'll say, "What? I haven't done anything. Well, what are you talking about? Why are you getting so angry?" There's a man laying in the bed. Right, they just got finished doing the deed. They're both butt naked. And she'll say, I haven't done any wickedness. What are you talking about? You're gaslighting me. They never, ever take accountability. Never. Right? And then the court upholds this sort of thing. It promotes this sort of thing. Right? Because if they should have made an example out of her. Okay? Now, this is the first case I've ever seen of a judge having sex in their chambers. I'm sure it probably goes on, but maybe they're more discreet about it. This demon certainly wasn't. And that's all the more reason for the court to come down on this demon. She should have been fired on the spot, okay, and should not be allowed to work as a judge ever again, okay? I can see if she mishandled a case, okay, or judge someone too harshly, what have you. Okay, not to say that that's justifiable or right, but to engage in this type of sexual misconduct and adultery and be allowed to keep your job, having sex on the job, I guarantee you, I could bet my life if I went into my job and popped someone in my office, I would have been fired on the spot, okay? I don't care how stellar or how pristine my work history is with this company. They would fire my ass on the spot. I guarantee it. But this demon gets to keep her job. Unbelievable. This place, you should be praying to the Lord to destroy this place with fire, bring these plagues that's talked about in the Bible. Pray to the Lord to have these plagues intensify, all right, and bring these people down, because pride is just overwhelming. And they don't think that they're going to be held accountable, and this is why they do the things that they do. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 25. Let's start at verse 19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. Okay? These women are wicked. They're vile. All right? They have no moral decency whatsoever. All right? They're put in positions of rulership. All right? They usurp the authority of men. They're given power. They're given control. And they can't handle it. They obviously cannot handle it. Why? Because they're the weaker vessel. Okay? They're emotional. They're led by their emotions. They pursue pleasures. Okay? And she's supposed to be doing a job, but she's pursuing pleasure while she's on the job. That's more important for her to get her sex on the job than do her damn job. She couldn't wait until she got off so she could hook up with this dude and do her business in a hotel or in her car or wherever. Anywhere but the goddamn courtroom or her chambers. But again, these women don't care. Just completely devoid of common decency. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. A wicked woman abateth the courage. It means diminishes the courage of her husband. Okay, when you're wicked and vile, that's exactly what happens. Maketh an heavy countenance, sadness, a heavy sadness, and a wounded heart. Okay, and heart in Hebrew goes back to the Hebrew word lav, which means the mind. So it wounds the mind, it wounds the psyche of a man. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. Okay? So you weaken a man. If you're wicked and not willing to comfort a man in distress, how's she going to do that when she's on her knees pleasing another man? Right? I mean, she's tainted. The marriage should be done. Right? Her husband needs to get a bill of divorce. Like I said, most likely he's going to have to pay alimony. All right? And it just goes to show you how wicked and vile this system is. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Okay? Sin began with the woman. All right? In the kingdom of heaven, however, we're not going to be subject to these fleshly bodies. We're going to have new bodies, immortal bodies, where the laws, statutes, and commandments are going to be placed in our inward parts. So there'll be no more sin. Women will be in their right frame of mind. Okay? The Israelite woman will be eternal, just like the Israelite man. Can you imagine living life free of sin? It's going to be a beautiful thing. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. Right? And this is why these women do the wickedness they do, because they're given liberty to do it. The scriptures tell you they shouldn't be given liberty to gad abroad, because when they have liberty or freedom, right, what do with it? They pursue pleasures, right? They're subject to their flesh. They can't separate the two. They're more worried about getting their sex on, all right, pursuing all kinds of pleasures, right? Regardless, they're married or not. If she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce and let her go. And this is exactly what this man should do that's married to this demon. Okay? So again, you should be praying to the Heavenly Father on a daily basis to destroy this place and bring on the plagues of Egypt to Babylon the Great, because the only remedy is for this place to be set on fire, okay, via nuclear destruction. All right, all the inhabitants need to be destroyed by fire. Okay, that's the only viable solution to this ubiquitous wickedness that you see occurring on the regular here in Babylon the Great. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.